No-shows continues to be an epidemic. They don't see, whether in your social media or whether in your conversation you had with them to align the appointment, they just don't see you as somebody that can help them. And this is usually the case. They're overwhelmed. They don't want to think about it. People are just incredibly resistant to engage their brain. Every year, 22% of all the small businesses fail. I am dumbfounded that it's not significantly higher because of the way they run their businesses. The way basically they disengage if thought is going to be required. And we talk about this with ourselves in terms of why we're resistant to do certain things. It's because we don't know what the outcome's going to be. We are so addicted to living a predictable life. And when we're faced with the choice between a known result versus an unknown result, it is scary how many times we will choose a bad known result over a potentially good unknown result. And we do it all the time. It's why we struggle making phone calls, because we're more comfortable knowing that nothing's going to happen than we are the unknown of maybe nothing will happen, maybe something big will happen, maybe something really, really bad will happen. But because we don't know, we're resistant to taking action. And that same thing happens with the business owners we meet with. They don't know what's going to happen if they meet with you. They don't know. And the reality is this: they know that if they meet with you, they're going to have to think and more than likely have to make a decision. And since all of that is unknown, it makes it so much easier for them just not to show up. It is basically them choosing a negative known versus a potentially positive unknown. And that's why it is so essential, both when you're setting up the appointment and on all your social media and everything about your brand, is that you do everything possible to make sure that they are as close to being to know what's going on as they can be. Because if they don't know that, then their likelihood that they're not going to show, just because they will choose the known bad versus anything else. In their case, it's not always the known bad as much as it's the known. They know where their business is now. And for most of them, it's not that their business is going bad, it's just not going really good. And they're afraid they'll do something to make it worse. If they make a purchase from you and it doesn't work, guess what? They just made their business worse. And that's the way they're looking at it, because it's all an unknown. It might be worth your time to, when you're doing your appointment, to include the line, hey, I don't know if this is a good fit for you guys or not. I think it is, but ultimately that's going to be up for you to decide. So I look forward to meeting with you and giving you the facts so that you can decide if this is a good fit for you. That's one of the things you want to do at the beginning of every presentation, because it takes the pressure off. It basically says, hey, they're not even sure it's a good fit. I'm under no pressure to buy. I would be curious if we added that into our phone conversations, if that would improve our no-show rate. Because now you've made them very comfortable and basically said, this is a person that's not going to shove something I don't need down my throat. and maybe it is something I need. I'd be very curious of the impact that had on the no-shows, because that does kind of tap into that known unknown. Because, as in any situation, our natural tendency is, if we don't know what's going to happen, if we can't predict exactly what's going to happen, we assume the worst. And so, since they don't know what's going to happen during your presentation, it's very, very easy for them to assume that you're going to be that pushy salesperson that's going to overpower them into buying something they don't need. I'm just not going to show up. I can avoid that.